Evans is a 16-year-old high school student. Today is the day he and his classmates are heading to Paris for a study trip and exhibition. While the boy was still deep in sleep, a strange gust of wind suddenly blew into his bedroom. It rattled through the room, making various objects rustle, as if to warn that this trip wouldn't be simple. The next day, Evans and his classmates, led by their teacher, arrived at the airport. Everyone's faces were beaming with joy, clearly imagining the wonderful trip ahead to Paris. But just before boarding, Evans noticed something strange. Every other flight that day, except for theirs, had been canceled. Even their own flight had been rescheduled to 9:25 p.m. Coincidentally, Evans' birthday was also September 25th. This felt like too much of a coincidence. As he went to the restroom, a John Denver song started playing. The unsettling part was that this singer had died in a plane crash in 1997. All these coincidences made Evans feel uneasy, but before he could think too much, his classmates behind him urged him to stop dawdling and board the plane. So everyone got on. The plane's old, creaky body and the sound of a crying baby inside made everything feel eerie and heavy. Evans sat in his seat, trying to calm his growing anxiety, but the feeling of dread refused to go away. Just as the plane was about to take off, two female classmates approached him, asking to swap seats. Evans didn't really want to, but to avoid any awkwardness, he reluctantly agreed and nodded. However, after moving to the new seat, he unexpectedly found the tray table in front of him suddenly fell down. He tried to fix it, but realized the button on the tray was broken. Panicked, he called for a flight attendant, but by then, the plane had already taken off. It was too late. Evans was now filled with a deep sense of despair and fear. The boy had a strong feeling that he was about to face danger, while the other passengers on the plane were completely unaware, still lost in the excitement of the trip. But in the next moment, the plane started shaking violently, and then disaster struck. Suddenly, the scene shifted, and Evans was jolted awake. It turned out it was all just a nightmare. However, when he saw the two girls coming over to swap seats, he realized that what he had just dreamt might actually happen. To confirm his suspicion, he quickly rushed over to his friend's seat. When he pulled off the button from the tray table, a chilling sensation washed over him. It was all real. Without hesitation, he shouted that the plane was going to explode and urged everyone to get off immediately. His outburst startled everyone, but no one believed his wild claims. One boy who came from a wealthy family was especially annoyed by Evans' behavior and got into a heated argument with him. Fortunately, their classmates and in the flight crew intervened in time to break them up. To avoid further delays, several students, including Evans, were temporarily removed from the plane. One of their teachers also stayed behind to figure out what was going on. Evans explained to her that he had foreseen the plane's explosion and recounted the details of the event with eerie precision. But to his classmates, everything he was saying sounded like pure nonsense. They were frustrated that Evans was ruining the trip. The argument intensified between him and the wealthy boy. Meanwhile, the plane had already taken off, disappearing into the dark sky. Suddenly, a deafening explosion tore through the night. The plane, which had just left the ground, exploded in midair. The blast was so powerful that it shattered the glass around them. Everyone on board perished, except for the 7 people who had been forced off the plane. The students stood there, staring at the scene in utter disbelief, as if they were trapped in a nightmare. The incident quickly drew the attention of local investigators, who questioned Evans and the others. Evans in particular was the focus of their inquiry, as he was the boy who had predicted the explosion. But in the end, all they got from him was the explanation that it had been just a dream.